When I went off to college, it was the first time that I had been away from home for a substantial period. Along with my newfound freedom, I was presented with two options: study hard and graduate, then go on to a career, or skip class to hang out at the gym or the local game store in between parties. Much to my parents' chagrin, I opted for the latter. But it wasn't just one choice. I decided day in and day out that the hard work could wait. I always managed to get by in the past, after all. But this time was different. This time, I was wrong. A year had gone by throughout which I had made the wrong choice again and again. I had returned home for the summer, none the wiser to the fate that would soon befall me. I sat in my bedroom, staring at my phone screen. I read the email for the first time. Surely this can't be right. I read it again. There's no way I let it get this bad, did I? After a third read-through to confirm reality, it set in that I had been dismissed from the university due to poor academic performance. I knew I had no one to blame but me, and now consequences must be paid both to my family and to myself. I needed a job to prove that I wasn't just going to sit around and do nothing, but what kind of work could a college dropout possibly procure? I took the first job thrown my way. It was monotonous and the pay sucked, but who am I to complain? I deserve this. I stuck with my dead-end job through the fall, then the holidays, and soon summer would pass too. At this moment, I became aware that the gym I attended was in need of coaches, and fast. I jumped at the opportunity to find a place where I could feel purpose. Of course I sucked at first, and I had always been scared to speak in front of people. But by now that fear had been outweighed by the idea that one day I might realize that the mistake I had made to put me in this position may not have been a mistake at all. What if that was just the person I truly was? So I resolved to show up every day, no matter what. As the months passed, I slowly gained confidence and competence, and learned to love the process of building new relationships. One day, as I was coaching a class just like any other, a new member came walking through the door. She caught my attention instantly, but she was shy, and so was I. Fast forward through 9 years and all the ups and downs that come with building a life out of a random encounter, and that girl and I are now engaged. Had I never been unceremoniously excused from my studies, there's a good chance that none of this would have ever happened. Maybe I just got lucky, or maybe it was exactly where I was supposed to end up all along. The Vaalmonica cards are based on the classic trope of having a good and evil angel on each shoulder, attempting to sway a person towards a certain decision. The concept of good and evil angels is ancient and can be seen in religious and historical works throughout human history. The earliest telling of this specific version of the angels representing one's conscience is found in the massively important historical milestone, Emperor's New Groove, wherein Yzma's lackey Kronk can be seen debating the angels on many occasions, the most significant of which being the decision to murder his employer for her disdain towards his spinach puffs, and also whether or not to kill their great llama overlord, Kuzco.
Oh, hold on. I think that is incorrect. I think I got that one wrong. Anyway.
The earliest telling of these specific angels is found in the tragical history of the life and death of Dr. Faustus, a play written in 1592 or 93 by English playwright Christopher Marlowe. The story follows Faust, a figure in German folklore based on Johann Georg Faust. Our titular doctor had grown bored with the world after having completed all of his scholarly pursuits. In a state of deep depression, he attempts to take his own life, unsuccessfully, after which he calls on the devil in search of greater knowledge. He sought magic and indulgence of the highest order. Mephistopheles would answer his cries in lieu of the devil himself. An offer would be made by the demon. In exchange for the small price of his soul for all eternity, Mephistopheles would serve Faust for the next 24 years, granting him all of the power he could ever dream of. While debating this decision, two angels appear to Faust. The righteous angel pleads with Faust to turn towards God, while the wicked angel tempts him with all of the wonders that await him if he were to just sign the contract. Faust, already believing that God did not love him and would surely cast him down to hell no matter his actions, and also that hell isn't real despite him literally talking to demons, decided to accept the deal with the devil. After accepting his fate, the angels would appear to him on one more occasion, repeating the same cycle of argumentation. The holy angel tried desperately to convince Faust that God would accept him if only he repent, while the unholy angel would remind him of the great wonders he had been given by Mephistopheles. This divide between good and evil is initially portrayed within the archetype in Velmonica, the agathocacological voice. The word agathocacological is composed of three parts: agatho, Greek for good; kako, a variation of the Greek word kak, meaning bad; and logical, based on logos, the Greek word for, well, word. When strung together, this word refers to something composed of both good and evil. The instrument depicted in the art is a glass harmonica, invented by Ben Franklin in 1761 after watching a musician perform music on wine glasses filled with water. The glass harmonica is essentially a collection of wine glasses in various sizes set within each other. The glasses are spun, and when a finger is placed on the edge of a glass, a tone is produced. This being made up of glasses falls in line with the image of a glass of good and evil, each held by their respective entities, that you metaphorically fill by activating card effects. The selection of this instrument in particular is intentional. The glass harmonica was thought to have been made with lead glass. This would lead to stories about people spontaneously dying after performing with the instrument due to lead poisoning. The glass harmonica itself represents the contrast between the beautiful sound it creates and the ultimate cost paid by playing it, though it's worth noting that there's no real evidence of this being true, and is likely a result of hysteria. The original name of the archetype, Vaalmonica, also suggests these same ideas. This original naming scheme was actually a portmanteau of the Italian variare, meaning to vary, here in reference to the choices presented on each card, and armonica, the instrument through which these choices are being influenced. The main deck monsters are pretty cut and dry. We have our main character, the decision maker, and the angel and demon on each shoulder whispering sweet nothings. Selettrice Velmonica is named for the Italian word for selector. This card is a stand-in for the pilot of the deck, as she is shown being presented with choices from each angel across multiple card artworks. Angelo Velmonica and Demono Velmonica are named for the Italian words for angel and demon, respectively. The true art of the archetype doesn't start to shine until we get into the spells and traps. Velmonica Scelta, Italian for choice, depicts the basic foundation of the archetype. Selettrice is torn between the suggestions of the angel and the demon. The remaining cards in the archetype seem to be designed in pairs. Velmonica Disharmonia, meaning disharmony, stands in contrast to Velmonica Intonare, meaning to tune. Both cards have effects dealing with spent cards being returned to you, either from the graveyard or banish zone. But Disharmonia seems to lean more towards extending a play further, while Intonare seeks to set up your hand or board either at the beginning of your turn or as a follow-up for the start of your next turn. Likewise, Velmonica Versare, meaning to pour or to shed, along the lines of to shed tears or to shed blood, pairs with Velmonica Invitare, meaning to invite. The invitation is in reference to the contract signed by Faust, committing his soul to damnation, and the shed blood is that which stains said contract. The dual meaning of versare is also used cleverly here. To pour can be interpreted as to add to yourself, or in this case the chalice held by the good angel, while to shed, or to give of yourself to the chalice of the evil angel, is a beautiful depiction of the anxiety brought about by the decisions one may be confronted with each day, being forced to choose between helping others or helping yourself. Next we have the trap cards, Velmonica Chosen Melody and Velmonica Followed Rhythm. While these cards drop the foreign language gimmick, they are named in such a way that absolutely blew my mind when the pieces started coming together. At the time that Dr. Faustus was written, a debate within society had risen between Calvinists and anti-Calvinists, with the former believing in predestination and the idea that God had already laid out a plan for them to follow, while the latter believed in free will. This intertwines with the source material, and that Dr. Faustus actually had two versions printed. The A text and B text of the play had only about 600 lines of difference between them, yet small changes in wording throughout the text would imply in the A text that Faust had actual decisions to make that would lead him to his fate, while the B text is worded in a way that implies he was doomed from the very beginning. The words chosen and follow used in these card names present a similar conundrum. Chosen could be read as one following the path chosen by themselves, or one that is chosen for them. Similarly, followed can be read as a person having followed a path of their own volition, or that they have followed a path provided to them. The Link monsters only continue this debate. Duralume Velmonica Heathen Hollow was originally given the name Vaalmonica no Ishin Giulalume in the OCG. Giulalume being a portmanteau of the Italian giulare and lume. Giulare has a couple of different translations, but I believe the one they are going for is minstrel, a medieval singer or musician that predominantly performed for nobility. Lume translates to light, meaning this name refers to something along the lines of minstrel of light. The Ishin portion of the name means anomalous divinity, but is also a pun in Japanese for prestige. Zebufera, Velmonican Hollow Heathen, was originally named Vaalmonica no Shinii Zebufera in the OCG. This time, the original name Zebufera is carried over to English, and is a portmanteau of the Italian Belzebu and Bufera, the latter of which means blizzard. The former, however, is actually the Italian name of Beelzebub, who makes an appearance alongside Mephistopheles and Lucifer in the play in one of Faust's moments of considering seeking salvation. The blizzard aspect of this name is likely meant to be in contrast with the light portion of Doralume's name. In her artwork, we can see rays of light streaming through the shattered glass at the top of the piece, illuminating the minstrel. In followed rhythm, we see the same monster being the source of light herself. On the other hand, Zebufera is depicted at night, surrounded by a swirling snowstorm. This is further accented in the art of chosen melody, where the storm pours over an enraged Zebufera. Also an equal yet opposite part with Doralume, Zebufera's OCG name contains the word Xianyi, an inversion of Ishin and translating to divine anomaly. This is also a pun in Japanese for divine will. This outlines the predetermined nature of events described in the beat text. In the TCG versions of these names, Heathen and Hallow are likely meant to portray a similar juxtaposition as seen in the OCG. A heathen is a person that does not belong to a widely held religion, and a hallow is the act of blessing or rending holy through religious rites. My interpretation of these titles would be Doralume, the ultimate result of good choices, reverberates in the heathen being blessed for her righteousness. In the inverse, the hallow in Zebufera's title can be read as a homophone for hollow, or empty, making Zebufera the ultimate result of evil choices, a symbol of empty faithlessness. Small decisions over the course of the game between gaining and losing life feel insignificant. It's only 500 life points after all. It's practically free at that point. The true cost or gain of your decisions will not become clear until it is likely too late. Had you spent the entire game making small expenses in search of victory, you leave yourself open to a quick loss with just one mistake. Or you could have been conservative and played the long game, setting yourself up to be able to withstand an onslaught for multiple turns, while also affording your opponent the same time to decipher your strategy. The bimodal effects of the spells and traps, when assessed in a vacuum, lean heavily toward guiding the player to the life point cost effect. They are generally more specific and more powerful effects, while the life point gain options are more broad, random, or situational. Likewise, the boss monsters of each end of the spectrum mirror these same concepts. Doralume is an all-or-nothing win condition that can clear a board and deliver crushing damage easily, while Zebufera allows you to set up and control a board and slowly whittle away at your opponent's resources, turn after turn. This almost feels backwards at face value, but a single glass cannon boss monster certainly aligns more with the loose, hope-for-the-best playstyle of the good options, while breaking your opponent over time fits with the evil playstyle. In service of not leaving you on a cliffhanger, I would like you to know that in the end, Faustus does not repent, by his decision or otherwise, and is dragged down to hell for eternity. He ignored every chance to make a better decision, and this led to his demise.
Well, I couldn't think of a clever way to end this video, but luckily you guys bailed me out in the greatest way possible. I've made a lot of shit decisions in my life, and starting this YouTube channel was absolutely not one of them, because I now have achieved my goal of 1,000 subscribers thanks to each and every one of you. So I want to take this moment here to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. It means the world to me, and I hope you guys stick around for more. So thank you guys once again, and onward to 10K. Have a good one. Goodbye.